Tonight on Capitol Hill,
Mr. Speaker, the President of the United States.
a major milestone for President Trump, his first State of the Union. And while there was all the usual pomp and ceremony, there were also subtle signs of the divisive year that's been. For one thing, check out the Democratic women wearing black to symbolize resistance and solidarity with Me Too. Others boycotted the speech altogether. Even so,
let's begin tonight by recognizing that the state of our union is strong because our people are strong.
President Trump declared the State of the Union sound and sought to make the case that under his leadership, all Americans have benefited.
There has never been a better time to start living the American dream.
The overarching theme that a rising tide lifts all boats.
To every citizen watching at home tonight, no matter where you've been or where you've come from, this is your time.
No mention tonight of this scandal that's been such a drag on the Trump presidency. But there were major developments today with the Russia investigation. House Republicans voted to declassify a controversial secret memo written by Congressman Devin Nunes, a Trump loyalist, alleging anti-Trump bias at the FBI. The president's allies say the details in the memo badly taint the Russia probe.
This makes Watergate like stealing a Snickers bar.
Democrats fought hard against declassifying the memo, but the Republicans are determined.
There may have been malfeasance by people at the FBI. So it is our job in conducting transparent oversight of the executive branch to get to the bottom of that.
Again, no mention of that tonight. Instead, the president outlined his plans for fixing America's infrastructure, in part by sweeping away environmental regulations that he says stymie development.
America is a nation of builders. We built the Empire State Building in just 1 year. Isn't it a disgrace that it can now take 10 years just to get a minor permit approved for the building of a simple road?
He also vowed to deliver on his long-promised wall along the Mexican border as part of his overall efforts to stop illegal immigration.
Tonight, I am calling on Congress to finally close the deadly loopholes that have allowed MS-13 and other criminal gangs to break into our country.
And in one of the most emotional moments of the night, he recognized the parents of two teenage girls murdered by gang members who were in the country illegally.
Tonight, everyone in this chamber is praying for you. Everyone in America is grieving for you.
The president insisted he's making good on his promise to restore blue-collar jobs.
Toyota and Mazda are opening up a plant in Alabama, a big one, and we haven't seen this in a long time. It's all coming back.
He vowed to use trade policy to protect American workers.
The era of economic surrender is totally over. From now on, we expect trading relationships to be fair.
And Trump had sharp words for America's enemies. He vowed to keep open the military prison at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Terrorists who do things like place bombs in civilian hospitals are evil. When possible, we have no choice but to annihilate them. When necessary, we must be able to detain and question them.
And tonight, the guests in the First Lady's box included a North Korean defector and the tearful parents of Otto Warmbier, the young American who died last year after being sentenced to months of hard labor in North Korea.
You are powerful witnesses to a menace that threatens our world, and your strength truly inspires us all.
Tonight, the Democratic response came from Massachusetts Congressman Joe Kennedy, grandson of Bobby Kennedy.
Folks, it would be easy to dismiss this past year as chaos, partisanship as politics. But it's far, far bigger than that.
He's a rising star for the Democrats.
You're what, 36 now?
Yeah.
So you'd be just about the same age as JFK when he ran.
A little bit younger.
Nightline recently spent the day with Kennedy back in his district.
Who's going to be ready in 2020? Are you?
Look, I don't think anybody knows who's going to be ready in 2020.
Tonight, the young congressman blasted Trump as a bully, picking on America's most vulnerable citizens.
And to all the dreamers out there watching tonight, let me be absolutely clear. Ustedes son parte de nuestra historia. Vamos a luchar por ustedes y no nos vamos a alejar. You are part of our story. We will fight for you, and we will not walk away.
Tonight in the House chamber, President Trump sought to rise above being merely a reality show president.
I am extending an open hand to work with members of both parties.
His America First message, consistent with his campaign, his tone a bit more conciliatory.
My duty and the sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too.
Tonight, Trump swung for the bleachers.
We want every American to know the dignity of a hard day's work. We want every child to be safe in their home at night. And we want every citizen to be proud of this land that we all love so much.
Framing his agenda not just as a mandate, but a patriotic duty.
Together, as one team, one people, and one American family can do anything. We all share the same home, the same heart, the same destiny, and the same great American flag.
But the nation is still divided. The chamber itself tonight reflected that divide. Half the room wasn't clapping, seemed almost determined not to clap. Silently, they sat there, biding their time to the midterms. I'm David Wright for Nightline in New York.
Our thanks to David Wright. I'm joined now by ABC News political analyst Matthew Dowd, ABC News political analyst Cokie Roberts, ABC News political analyst and co-host of The View, Meghan McCain, and we welcome former Governor of New Jersey and ABC News contributor Chris Christie. Well, Governor, welcome to the team.
Thank you.
First question for you, sir. If the president's goal was to unite the people, how do you think he did tonight?
Well, listen, I think he did the best he could. As I said earlier, I think that the speech was probably a little bit too long, a little bit too much of a committee putting it together. I think some more tighter themes might have been helpful in that regard. But I'll also say, Byron, that, in the end, I don't think there's anything he could have said that Democrats would have stood up for tonight. And I think that's a shame, too. I think that chamber was an indication of how divided the country is. The president has a lot of work in front of him.
Cokie, pick up on the point that the governor just made, that this was a House divided when the night started, and it didn't seem they came any closer by the end.
No, not to put it mildly. This was a Democratic Congress minority that really did not want to give the president anything, but the president didn't give them anything. He brought up all kinds of controversies, which is unusual in a State of the Union. So he tweaked them on Cuba, on Iran, on Guantanamo, on standing for the national anthem, and of course the whole litany of things on immigration. And he didn't mention, by the way, Africa or Europe, places where maybe there could be some kind of unity. So I don't think that the Democrats came away thinking that he really put out any kind of olive branch to them.
Sure. Meghan, the president is calling for a bipartisan deal on immigration, but we saw a lot of Democrats wearing black and a lot of folded arms in the audience tonight. Can a speech like tonight impact talks at all, you think, in a positive way?
Yeah, I actually was really surprised. I was expecting sort of this unification on DACA going forward, just given the government shutdown and all the cacophony of controversy surrounding it in the past week or so. But this really should be an easy layup for Democrats and Republicans. And I think tonight was actually a step back, and I'm really disappointed to see it because, as was said earlier by Cecilia Vega, 84% of Americans support the DREAM Act. So I was a little disappointed.
Matthew Dowd, you met with the president for about 20 minutes earlier today. Was this the speech you were expecting to hear based on your conversation with him earlier today?
Well, it wasn't the speech I suggested that he might want to give and the actions he might want to follow it up in this. The unfortunate thing, and I'll agree with everybody, including Governor Christie, the country's very divided, but I think what happened with the speech tonight is we've become more into trench warfare.
Under our plan, we focus on the immediate family.
So each side digs their trench, and nobody's willing to go across no man's land. No man or woman on either side has been willing to go across. And I had an expectation that maybe the president was going to try to go across no man's land and get to the other side, but there was nothing in this speech that gave Democrats any willingness to come across. Nothing.
Megan, did you hear anything tonight where you thought, okay, at least in this space, the president made points that the nation, both sides of Congress, can embrace?
I think when you're talking about veterans' health care choice, that certainly I think most Americans can get behind. Infrastructure, I doubt you can find an American who would not want to have better roads in this country. But I will say, as a conservative, there were a lot of like sort of red meat and potatoes moments, starting with saying "In God We Trust," talking about the Second Amendment, talking about standing for the national anthem. Obviously, a controversial opinion for Democrats, but something that I think Republicans sort of can get behind. But yeah, it wasn't a completely unifying speech in the way that I had anticipated, and some of his surrogates were saying before the State of the Union.
Governor, quickly, what grade would you give the president? This is someone who you talk to, who he seeks your counsel. How would you grade him tonight?
So I give him a B for the speech. I think it was a pretty standard State of the Union speech. Most presidents speak to their base in these speeches. They talk about the things they believe in, that they're advocating for. And I know that some people expected more of that tonight. We didn't get it.
Governor, thank you. Thank you to all of our panelists. Wish we had more time. Thank you for staying with us so late tonight.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.